Bill Federer from the American Minute, and it's always good to have Bill here. And then we'll wrap up the hour with Dr. Jerry Newcomb, doctor with Providence Institute. Will again give us some more things to remember and to appreciate about this exceptional country, this blessed country that we've been born into. For those of us who just happen to be born into America. I mean, what a great opportunity and a blessing. And it's no wonder that everybody would try to, come into this country. On some hand, if you think for just a moment, if you were on the outside, what would you do for your family to get into this country? But of course, we are a country of law still. I know that there's some forces that want us to compromise that. But this is something that we've got to square away, and this is all part of and parcel of us getting this country back on track. I really want to try to avoid, the political conversation as much as we can today, because it's a day to honor and remember this great country of ours. We've been saying all along, especially in special days like this, that this is the time to, crack out the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, for parties that you may be having at home with friends and neighbors and barbecues in the backyard. Take a moment. I'm telling you, you will be blessed when we've done this. It's just been awesome. Our guests appreciate it. And it's also notable as they're reading the Constitution, it's like the light bulbs go on and go, oh my God, wow, we really are blessed. We have such a great country and we have so many people to be thankful for, starting with the Puritans and the Pilgrims before they came here to this country. I mean, they were praying for 12 years that God would bless them with, a place for them to go to where they could worship God freely, unencumbered, that they didn't have to look over their shoulders and think they were, violating some sort of, some sort of religious, permit or something because the king or the ruling party or government said that they weren't allowed, and this was the only religion that you could participate in, and that sort of thing. And for 12 years, they prayed faithfully, and God led them, to, as we know, the rest of it led them here to America. And of course, like I said, we're going to be blessed because we got Bill Federer, the American Minute creator, who will be here and take us down a walk down memory lane. And of course, we'll finish up that memory lane experience with Dr. Jerry Newcomb as well. So, I pray you have some plans set aside, for the family. This is a fun time, to get family together, to barbecue, and think about some good things. And, maybe I know you can't help. There's so much stuff that's happening right now politically that you probably can't help but talk about some things, that are going to bring you into the political realm. Of course, with all that's going on with the Democratic Party and the president, and pressure is on for him to make a decision. But so far he's made a decision, said that he's in it to win it. And of course, we'll see how that plays out. But the other thing too, I think I want to bring up to you is that we need to be careful, and I think there needs to be something done about the political rhetoric. This time of year, people get really fast and loose with the language and accusations and that sort of thing. And what kind of examples are we seeing, from our political leaders? Because they're allowed to say things about their opponent, with impunity, without any consequence whatsoever. And I think this is bad. This is bad for the body politic that you make accusations, and many of those are false accusations. They're just emotional feelings. There's no backing. They really are libelous. And I think we need to do something about that. I think Congress needs to do something about it. And because if they're held liable, you watch how they watch the words that they say. All right, coming up next, Bill Federer right here on this 4th of July.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-536-4436. That's 800-536-4436. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-536-4436.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Bill Martinez Live, a program about current events, our culture, our values, our politics, and our future. And now, Bill Martinez.
We better stop. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going on. Stop.
Well, happy 4th of July, America. 6 minutes after the top of the hour. I am Bill Martinez. Bill Fetter joins us now. Hey, Bill, happy 4th. Good to have you with us.
Happy 4th to you, Bill.
Oh, you're looking rather patriotic. I love this. Red, white, and blue. We're all coordinated here. We got the memo and we're ready to go to talk about, the history of this great country. I got to tell you, I just so appreciate you, being the historian you are, so dedicated, and to bless us with your time, because I know that, your time is precious and everybody wants a piece of you, Bill Fetter.
Well, you and your listeners are important, and America is unique in world history. And I just put together a new book called Silence Equals Consent, The Sin of Omission. Speak
Wow.
now or forever lose your freedom.
Uh-huh.
And I highlight how unique America is, that for most of world history, you have kings, basically gangs, and a gang leader with enough weapons we call a king or a pharaoh or a Caesar, Kaiser, Sultan, Czar. But power wants to concentrate into the hands of one person, and they rule through fear.
Mhm.
And the kingdoms keep getting bigger until the King of England had the biggest. He was a globalist. The sun never set on the British Empire. He had India, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong. And America's founders decided they didn't like globalist, one world government kings telling us what to do. So they broke away and flipped it and made the people the king.
Right.
So the word citizen is Greek. It means co-ruler, co-sovereign, co-king. And so we pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands. We're basically pledging allegiance to us being in charge of ourselves.
Exactly.
And when somebody protests the flag, what they're saying is, I don't want to be the king anymore. I protest this system where I participate in ruling myself. It's like,
Yeah,
okay.
think about that, Bill. That's kind of like today, the kids are saying from the river to the sea. They don't even understand what they're saying. But just like you said, when you don't want to pledge allegiance, to yourself as being your own ruler and king. I mean, think about that.
Yeah. And so then in the book, I go to, where did America's founders get the idea of people ruling themselves? Well, sometime the Enlightenment and some of the, you have the Roman Republic and the Athenian democracy, but you'd go far enough back, it's ancient Israel. So around 1400 BC to around 1000 BC, you have millions of Israelites come out of Egypt. And for 400 years, there's no king. It's the first instance in recorded human history with millions of people and no king. And the system worked because everybody was taught the law and personally accountable to God to follow the law.
Right.
So you're about to steal, nobody's around, and you think God's watching. You want somebody to be fair, he's going to hold me accountable. And so this period is called the Hebrew Republic, and it was studied intently by the Puritans that founded New England and the Baptists and Congregationalists and Presbyterians and the Quakers. And but in Israel, after 400 years, every man did what was right in their own eyes, turns into chaos, and they all go to Samuel, the prophet, and they say, we want a king. And Samuel cries, and the Lord tells him, they didn't reject you, they rejected me. And so they get a king. Now, why is this important? Because the kings of Europe looked to the Bible for their authority, but they looked to the King Saul and on part of the Bible. And the Puritans and others that founded America looked to the pre-King Saul part of the Bible. So King Saul is the divider between America and England. Why is this important? Because Romans 13, for those not familiar, it's a verse that says, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities. Romans 13 is understood differently in a monarchy versus a republic. In a monarchy, subjects submit to the king. In a republic, the citizens are the king. The politicians are your servants. You hire them, you fire them, you tell them what to do, right? And so the word federal is Latin for covenant. We have a covenant form of government in America where it's government from the consent of the governed.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. Bill, again, I can sense people again. This is something they need to be reminded of because this is foundational. And I'd say the problem with America today is we have forgotten these key foundational elements that you just shared with us.
Yeah, I was putting together an article on Pericles, and he lived in Athens, which was a democracy from around 460 to 430 BC. He was the leader,
Mhm.
and he was accumulating lots of power. And so people wanted to uh, have him ostracized. It was sort of like invoking the 25th Amendment. They wanted to get rid of him. And
Right.
rather than allow himself to be got rid of, he intentionally let Athens get into a war with Sparta called the Peloponnesian War. And it was a needless war. But he
Mhm.
wanted to get the country, the city state, into a war because then people would stop criticizing him for being too powerful. And then they all would want a powerful leader in the name of war. And everybody would be taught that would be the news headlines rather than him. And
Right.
so think of it when you have a leader that's getting power hungry and he's becoming unpopular, the temptation is to get the country into war. It's the theme of the movie Wag the Dog with Dustin
Exactly.
Hoffman and Robert
Right.
De Niro.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's nothing new under the sun. It just keeps cycling back, doesn't it, Bill?
Yeah, but the experiment of America is taking the top-down power of a king and flipping it and making it the bottom-up power of the people. And they got their idea from these New England congregational churches who got their idea from the Bible, what part of the Bible, that first 400 years out of Egypt called the Hebrew Republic. That's why they taught Hebrew at Yale and Harvard,
Mhm.
right? To this
Wow.
day, the motto of Yale is truth and light, but they have it written in Hebrew characters. So so it was a miracle we broke away.
Mhm.
If it wasn't, no, England had an American experiment. It was called the English Commonwealth, and it went on from 1640 to 1660 under Oliver Cromwell. And so
Mhm.
Cromwell did not call himself a king, right? He wanted to have this covenant form of government. Unfortunately, when he died, his son Richard could not hold it together, and they brought back King Charles II. So basically, they had an American experiment over in
Yeah.
England. But in
Right.
America, because of a 3,000-mile ocean, and besides, we didn't have gold like Central and South America. We had what? Tobacco, dried fish,
Indeed.
really, and
Yeah.
Jamestown went bankrupt. 500 people died. It was a loser investment. The British East India Company, that was the winning investment. So the King of England was like, look, colonies in America, just don't bother me. Stay out of my hair for a century.
Mhm.
Well, for that century, we got to develop self-government. And so, finally, you had in 1770, the British took over Bengal and took over India, and there was a famine, right? So the British come in and they're like, okay, the way you've been growing stuff, it's not profitable. We're going to reshuffle everything. Well, the British didn't understand the monsoons and the different drought seasons that they had, and 10 million died of a famine in
Wow.
Bengal in
Wow.
1770. And there's no products coming out of there, and the British East India Company is about to go belly up. And they ask for a government bailout, and the Parliament says, "Okay, we'll let you tax, the people in England." People in England said, "We don't want to be taxed," and they say, "Okay, we'll tax the colonies." And so that was the precipitation for the revolution.
And the taxation without representation, and it goes on from there. This is, the other thing that is part of the American idea, as you say, Bill, was a covenant. A covenant, I believe, with God. God's hand, his provincial hand was upon this country in honoring the prayers of the pilgrims and the Puritans. And I believe this was a huge difference. I mean, you have to believe this was the difference in why this idea worked versus other attempts at a republic. Anyway, we've got to go to a quick break. We'll be back more from the historian, Bill Federer, right after this. Stay with us. Okay, so you're seriously thinking about investing in gold and silver? And I don't blame you considering our current economic condition. So the question I get asked all the time is, Bill, who can I trust? Okay, you have to know we're constantly being approached by gold investment groups, but I wanted to make sure if I was going to recommend a gold investment group to my audience, that it was someone I could trust and recommend to my own family and friends. This is why I chose the Genesis Gold Group. Their customer service and knowledge is world class. You're going to find out and see for yourself when you call Genesis Gold Group at 844 202 4252. I only trust Genesis Gold Group, and I know you will too. They're committed to getting your money back on the gold standard. So call the Genesis Gold Group today, 844 202 4252. That's 844 202 4252, or check out the website, goldwithbill.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-536-4436. That's 800-536-4436. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-536-4436.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
I'm Dr. Sandra Fay, President of the American Veterinary Medical Association, with tips to help keep your pets safe outdoors this summer. Sunny days are perfect for outdoor playtime. Just make sure to avoid the hottest hours and have access to shade and fresh water. On really hot days, keep outdoor activities brief. Take plenty of cooling indoor breaks and watch for signs of overheating, like excessive panting or lethargy. When exploring outdoors, it's important to watch your pets closely and keep them leashed to limit their ability to get into things they shouldn't. If you notice vomiting, diarrhea, weakness, or trouble breathing, contact your veterinarian right away. And summer backyard parties are fun, but keep your pets away from potentially toxic foods and drinks to avoid an unplanned trip to the vet. Highly fatty foods and things like chocolate, grapes, onions, and alcohol can make pets very ill. For more on keeping pets safe, visit avma.org.
Hey, glad you can join us. Happy 4th of July, America's 248th birthday. I'm Bill Martinez. We're live with Bill Federer, the American Minute creator, nationally known speaker, best-selling author, and president of AmeriSearch. Bill, remind us real quick. You showed us your new book very quickly. Share with our audience again. There it is. Silence equals consent. You know, it's interesting, Bill. And then I want to get back to some of the things, especially what Ronald Reagan noted in the early 80s about freedom. And I think this was an opportunity for our country to reset. And we're due for another reset. But what I've been real concerned about in this political season is the rhetoric that's thrown around, particularly from politicians and leaders, with impunity. I mean, as long as they're able to attack a public figure without any consequence, it puts this vial into the body politic, into the bloodstream, and to where I think this is not helping uh, relationships. How we get along with people who have a differing view. There's a way, civilly to conduct dialogue and to exercise our First Amendment right and do so respectfully, in the hopes that an exchange of ideas can take place, because we've looked through the ages and we know that when both sides are talking and communicating, we have a better America. So I have a problem with this issue. I think that we need to do something about our politicians just haphazardly making statements that are, I believe they're libelous. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, well, it came into focus for me when I wrote my book on socialism, the real history from Plato to the present. And during the Cold War, you had countries coming into existence after World War II, and they would elect leaders, and it was hopeful, except the KGB. They didn't like these countries being free. And so
Mhm.
they sent in agents who did what's called critical theory, where they would observe all the groups in the country. Ethnically, Bosnians, Croats, Serbs, religiously, Sunni, Shia, Orthodox, economically, racially, didn't matter. And they
Mhm.
would call some victims and others oppressors, haves and have nots. And then they would stir them to fight each other with riots and protests and then violence. Why violence? Because then people think emotionally and not logically. And then they would take all that emotion in the country and they would use the media to channel it and blame the leader of the country. And when he drops in popularity, they would do a coup or a rigged election and replace him with a Soviet puppet.
Yeah.
And so we began to see this prior to the last election cycle, right? They used the media and they wouldn't let Trump respond. I mean, they literally silenced him. And then they would channel all this, and then now it's coming out a whole lot of irregularities with the last election. And so you see what's happening today. Now, one of the other things I noticed is that whenever a leader is getting unpopular, uh, a tyrant has two tools in their toolbox: fraud and force.
Mhm.
Fraud is they will lie to you and you'll let them. But then when you begin to see through the fraud and it's not working, their only other tool is force. And so
Right.
they purge the military of anybody that has patriotic values. All they want is yes men. And they purge the Department of Justice and all their law enforcement arms. All they want is enforcers. And then they use lawfare against their political opponents. In Athens, Pericles did this against his opponent Simone, right? Tried to get him ostracized. And then they would stage, and this is what was done during the Cold War, they would stage riots and make it look like the opponent was responsible for the riot when actually they were planning the riot. And
Exactly.
then it would turn the public against their opponent. And then the next thing is, let illegal immigrants in and encourage them to do violence and blame that on your political opponents. But that will be an excuse for martial law.
Mhm.
And then finally, you get the country into a war. And people during a war will stop criticizing the leader, and all the news headlines will be on the war. And so when you have a tyrant that doesn't want to give up power, they will use all these different tactics. And but I do think that when we came into existence, we have to remind ourselves we were breaking away from the most powerful globalist the world had ever seen, the
Exactly.
King of England.
Right.
And we had no army, we had no navy. I mean, Washington personally financed ships, 6 ships called Washington cruisers. He paid for them out of his own pocket.
Mm.
And then you had, a ragtag army. Patrick Henry gave his "Give Me Liberty, Give Me Death" speech, and in there he said, "Oh, that God would raise up powerful friends to fight our battles for us." And so, who would have thought that France, the
France,
second
exactly.
biggest power in the world, would come in? And when that happened, Britain had to spread its military around the world to defend against the French around the world, and it took the
Mhm.
pressure off America. And then Spain started a company in Paris called the Rodrigo Hortez and Company. And through that, Spain funneled millions of dollars to the American colonies to help us rebel against the British. but they didn't want to do it publicly because they were negotiating a treaty regarding Portugal or something. And it wasn't until years later that it came out that Spain was actually helping to finance us breaking away.
Right.
When the Spanish sent some ships, or excuse me, the French sent ships to help George Washington, they stopped off at Cuba. And the ladies of Havana donated their jewelry, their silverware, their candelabras, millions of dollars worth of silver and gold. And they brought it to Washington, who was bankrupt. His army was just depleting and going back to their farms. And so the saying is that the women of Havana supplied the bottom dollar on which the edifice of American independence was built. And then you had the Spanish commander, Bernardo de Galvez, and he cuts off the Spanish from the entire Caribbean and helps capture Pensacola, Florida from the British. And so lots of people helped us to break away from the king. And so we did our part, and God raised up these powerful friends to do their part.
Exactly. And and we need to be grateful for that. And we've demonstrated some gratefulness. I mean, what did we do, in terms of, bringing freedom to and saving the world, especially in World War II, right, Bill?
Right. And so we were standing against the globalists. And, there's a quote from Daniel Webster, and he said that if America falls, then the whole world will be in trouble. He says, miracles do not cluster. What has happened once in 6,000 years may not happen again. Hold on to the Constitution, for if the American Constitution should fail, there will be anarchy throughout the world. It's like, why would there be anarchy throughout the world if the American Constitution fell? Because for 6,000 years of recorded human history, right? Most archaeologists say that Sumerian cuneiform was invented around 3,300 BC. But for 6,000 years of human beings writing down human records, there's been kings and tyrants and pharaohs and Caesars and Kaisers and sultans, and they ruled through fear. And people were slaves, and people thought, if only we could rule ourselves without a king, wouldn't that be wonderful? And in America, we did it. And if we blow it, there's nothing left for humanity to look forward to than what? I mean, this side of heaven is if America were gone, you'd have a Russian dictator gang leaders, Chinese gang leaders, North Korean gang leaders, Iranian Ayatollah gang. It's going to be a gang war on a global scale, and human rights will be crushed.
Right. And how many of these countries have nuclear bombs, Bill?
Yeah, so it's worth saving America. Yes. I did an interview last night down in Australia. Cheers, mate, and the person, Dean McKay was his name. He was quite up on American politics. I was very impressed.
That's great.
But here they're interested in what's going on in America, because they know that if America shows weakness, it's going to embolden all the aggressive powers around the world. So this is important for what we're doing.
Well, my good friend Trevor Loudon, who's New Zealander, and I say, why are you so concerned about America? He says, because if they go under, we're toast. So, New Zealand, Australia, to your point, exactly. They're counting on America saving their bacon.
Yeah. One last quote from John Jay. He was the first Chief Justice. He says, the Americans are the first people whom heaven has favored with an opportunity of choosing the forms of government under which they should live. All other constitutions have derived their existence from violence or accidental circumstances. Your lives, your liberty, your property will be at the disposal only of your creator and yourselves. That's what makes America great. You and your creator get to decide what you want to do with your life.
Well, as it's been said, America is great because it's good. If it stops being good, it will stop being great, Bill Federer. Here it is.
And my new book, Silence Equals Consent, The Sin of Omission, and my website's AmericanMinute.com.
Sponsored by IBM.
Thank you, Bill Federer.
IBM and the All England Lawn Tennis Club announced a new feature for the Wimbledon digital experience that will utilize match data with generative AI from IBM's AI and data platform Watson X to keep fans updated on gentlemen and lady singles players as they move through the championships. The new feature, named Catch Me Up, displays cards with AI-generated player insights and analysis, making it easier for fans to stay up to date on players across all matches. Pre-match content will include analysis of recent performance and likelihood to win predictions, while post-match will include key statistics and highlights. The feature will also create longer-form daily and weekly summaries of play. Catch Me Up aims to help Wimbledon scale its content to both new and existing tennis fans globally. The Championships Wimbledon will run from July 1st to July 14th, 2024. Visit Wimbledon.com or download the Wimbledon app on your mobile device. Available on the App Store and Google Play Store.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. That's 800-699-0358.
I'm Phil Hotzenpelter, the pastor of Influence Church in Anaheim Hills, California. I have a new book out with Charisma Publishing. The title, It's Midnight in America. You know the church is asleep and slumbering in the night. We're on the doorstep of the return of Christ. Every day we see more and more signs of his return. But are you ready? My new book, It's Midnight in America, will answer the most pressing questions about biblical prophecy, the last days. The book will help you connect biblical prophecies with current events. Diminish fear, find hope, and develop an unshakable faith for the days ahead. The book is available on Amazon. Get your copy today.
It's 6 minutes after the top of the hour. Great to have you with us. Happy 4th of July, America. And with us to celebrate is Dr. Jerry Newcomb, author and co-author of over 30 books, executive director of Providence Forum, creator, director, writer, executive producer of the Foundation of American Liberty series. We're going to talk about that and more, and this great celebration and birthday for our country, the United States of America. Dr. Jerry Newcomb, always good to be talking to you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you. And I'm so glad to still be at Coral Ridge Ministries. Now Providence Forum is just a part of Coral Ridge Ministries, founded by the late Dr. Kennedy and headed now by Dr. Robert Pacienza. And happy 4th of July to you, Bill.
Well, what a great time for us to remember. I mean, it is clear that we must remember the shoulders of those that went before us that we're standing on, Jerry, and why America is such an exceptional country. I know for some people, sadly, when they hear America and exceptionalism said in the same sentence, it grates their nerves a little bit. But as I was talking with a friend of mine, I said, look, America earned it. It wasn't like it was just given to us. Our grandparents, I mean, all the way up through the generations here have contributed to this great country that in some cases we take for granted, right?
Yes, and it's so true. And I think the bottom line is the part of the reason why America has been so blessed all these centuries, really 2.5 centuries. In 2 years, it'll be the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And so anyway, I think it's because the founders recognized that our rights come from the Creator.
Yes.
And they said, okay, so here in America, we will be governed by the consent of the governed. So in other words, we the people, and in a Republican form of government. But we have to recognize that God is the foundation of our liberty, of our rights. And if you remove knowledge of God, then those liberties start to fall apart. And that's part of what's happening. I think the big struggle in America these days is getting back to our foundation, which is based on a Judeo-Christian base, which is that our rights come from the Creator. And what
Exactly.
God gives, man should not take away.
Right, exactly. And the thing is that historically, when you read the Old Testament, the children of Israel were reminded time and again, if you follow my rules, in so many words, and you do the right thing, it will go well for you. I promise you this heritage, and our founding fathers really supported. And I think the Pilgrims are in a sense they're forgotten in what they brought to this country. This love for God, this vision for God, this dream, this all these prayers. Jerry, 12 years of praying to God, please, can we have a place where we could go to and be able to worship you freely? 12 years they put out that prayer, and then God answered that prayer. So no doubt when you go back to the genesis of America's early foundings, you go to the Pilgrims and realize that the birth of America was birthed in prayer.
So you're saying from 1608 to 1620, since the answers to those prayers you're just referring to
Right.
were in the voyage of the Mayflower, when the first group of the Pilgrims were able to come here. And when they came, they had to have some hired strangers on board who were sympathetic with their mission to create a church-based commonwealth here in what became Plymouth.
Right.
And they were blown off course. They had permission from King James, who kind of was glad to get rid of them.
Right.
But they had his written permission to plant a voyage in the northern parts of Virginia, which in those days, Virginia was so large, it included what would be today about the mouth of the Hudson River, so around New York City.
Right.
But they were blown off course. And because of that, the Pilgrims had to make an agreement, or they decided to make a written agreement that would bind them all together. And that's called the Mayflower Compact. And the men signed it, and they said that this was done in the name of God. Amen. And
Right.
this Mayflower Compact, where they said we're doing this voyage for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith, that was the first step in the whole process of what ultimately culminated 150 years later to the Declaration of Independence, which was an agreement under God signed by the men that were participating in that, an agreement of self-rule under God, and then the Constitution, which is predicated on the Declaration of Independence, which came 11 years later. So in other words, what America is, in effect, with our two key founding documents, it really gets back to the Pilgrims and the Puritans and the Quakers and these different Christian religious groups that used the biblical concept of covenant and then wrote it down as a political agreement, calling on God as a witness, and then allowing for self-rule, self-government.
Well, and the thing that amazes me, Jerry, even hearing you recall the fact that it was 150 years, this process to get to the Declaration of Independence, God's hand remained on America, and his promise, his covenant with America held true all the way through this period of time to inspire the Madisons, to inspire the Franklins, the Jeffersons, to really seek out the truth of God. Because here it is, they basically are starting with a clean sheet of paper. I mean, hey, okay, we're going to have a government. What's it going to look like? What is going to be? And they all debated and were reasoning together. And not that there was 100% agreement. There wasn't.
Right.
They reasoned together, and God directed by his Holy Spirit, I believe, honored the covenant and directed these men to certify these covenant dynamics, right? I mean, because I think Madison would tell you right off the bat, we're not that smart. This had to be some outside influence, right?
Well, George Washington said when the Constitution was finally written, he described it as a miracle that these different men with these different interests could come together and yet create this document. And we all know the word federal as in federal government and so forth. That is derived from the Latin word foedus, Foedus, which means covenant.
Yes.
So in effect, the 13 colonies that became the 13 states of the United States made a covenant with each other so that out of the many came one federal government with a covenant form of government. Again, this is so important because the Bible and the Christian faith played a key role even behind the scenes in the
Exactly.
development of all this.
Well, and the thing is, I guess to me, that's where the hubris comes in and all and arrogance in today's modern man to think that somehow they know better. And what do they offer? What they offer in contrast to this covenant that you just laid out for us, Jerry, they come up with an idea and different ideas that have proven historically to be destructive against God and against man, right?
Yes, and in fact, let's take an example with the Constitution. You mentioned
I'll tell you, we
James
got about 40
Madison.
seconds. We got 40 seconds left.
Okay.
In the break. Maybe we can.
Real fast. I can say this real fast.
Okay.
James Madison, key architect of the Constitution, believed very strongly, as did the other founding fathers, man is basically sinful. He put it this way: all men having power ought to be distrusted. Therefore, in the Constitution itself, they baked in the biblical concept that we're so sinful, therefore power must be divided, and no one man or one small group of men can accumulate power unto themselves. That's the essence of tyranny.
Got to go to break. More from Jerry Newcomb right after this. Stay with us.
Summer, what's not to love? Well, maybe not the scorching temperatures. Every day can't be 75 degrees with a breeze. So I went to Kohl's and stocked up on looks that'll keep me and my husband cool all season long. I got 20% off already great prices on linen dresses, cute jumpsuits, and comfy polos. Plus, I saved $15 because I spent over $75. And I earned Kohl's cash. So bring on the summer heat. We're ready to weather it in style. All thanks to Kohl's. Select styles. Offers end July 7th. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
In a single moment, everything can change. When a player's sudden cardiac event brought a national football game to a halt, it shone a spotlight on the importance of CPR readiness. Now, with youth sports in full swing, the American Heart Association is rallying parents and coaches to be ready in an emergency. To be ready, learn hands-only CPR. It's a skill anyone can learn in minutes. Visit heart.org/hands-only-CPR and become a lifesaver today.
It's going to be a stormy summer. Hi, I'm Dr. Rena Carlson, President of the American Veterinary Medical Association. With blazing heat, tornadoes, hurricanes, and wildfires, how do we keep our pets safe? First, the sun. Make sure your dog has access to shade and fresh water, and consider walking your dog at cooler times of the day. Watch out for heat stress, which can include panting and drooling, and if you're concerned, call your veterinarian. As for more severe weather, such as twisters or hurricanes, have an evacuation plan mapped out in advance. Put together a pet evacuation kit with several days' food, medicine, first aid kit, and other travel supplies, including medical records. Make sure your pet has proper identification, including microchip, and contact your veterinarian if you need more specifics on how to prepare. Log on to avma.org for more valuable information on pets, summer heat, and disaster preparedness planning.
Has your heater or air conditioner busted? Appliance broken? Computer crashed? Then you need an ARW home warranty. Home system and appliance repairs and replacements can cause stress and cost you thousands of dollars per year. With an A-plus BBB rating and a top-rated home warranty company on Consumer Affairs and Trustpilot, ARW Home provides superior service, featuring the industry's lowest service call fee. ARW Home has warranty plans that cover your kitchen and laundry appliances, heating and air conditioning systems, electrical and plumbing systems, and much more. Call 800-559-7562 to customize your plan. Plus, ARW has partnered with Azurian to protect your new and used tablets, laptops, TVs, and other home tech from accidental damage and wear and tear. All plans come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-559-7562. That's 800-559-7562.
Are you looking for a natural health solution to improve your mind and body? Greska's Carbon 60 is an all-natural oral dietary supplement that supports your body's optimal health and performance. Studies show that Carbon 60 helps eliminate inflammation, often the root of your health issues. One carbon-rich serving provides your body with a powerful antioxidant to help remove toxins and free radicals. Carbon 60 helps protect your cells from damage and promotes cellular regeneration. Experience the power of Greska's Carbon 60 and say goodbye to pain, inflammation, and fatigue. Call anytime at 720-600-6040, 720-600-6040, or visit c-60.com. That's c-60.com. Greska's Carbon 60. Go to c-60.com.
Grover, I want to have you finish your thought. This is really important for people, to kind of understand what's playing out here, because there's blood in the water, and it's amazing how in little time, shortly after this debate, when I heard Nancy Pelosi's comment of whether or not it was an episode or a condition referencing what happened on debate night, I said, "Oh, Katie, bar the doors, because they're going to be coming out in full order," right?
Yes, and it's fascinating to watch a handful of Republicans, generally not office holders, hinting darkly that Biden should be pushed into traffic. And they're shocked and horrified to learn that he's not really all there in terms of the capacity to talk, reason.
And have the nuclear codes, oh, by the way.
An unseriousness on the part of Biden's. But you can say, well, you can't blame Biden because he doesn't have the judgment anymore to know that he doesn't have the judgment. What the real crime, sin, the thing that's so problematic is that the 400 people who work at the White House, they knew this. The hundreds of Democratic senators and congressmen, they knew this. Everybody in the establishment press.
A former president knew this. Barack Obama has
Obama
been
knew it.
his
Clinton
hand.
knew it.
Yes.
They all lied to America for 4 years. And then when they got caught lying, they're turning on Biden and going, oh, he's a jerk. Every one of them was perfectly willing to have a bunch of staffers in the White House make presidential level decisions, all of them terribly left wing. There isn't anything that this administration did, moving to the center, always to the left. And they did so because all they cared about was moving to the left. They didn't care about having a president that, could be part of the conversation to do this. Now, any other Democrat who replaced Biden would also be sitting in the middle of that circle, and the trial lawyers and the labor union bosses and all of the special interests, the Greens and the people who want the government to regulate your life in different ways, all sit around the table and they tell that candidate what to do. It's just more obvious with Biden, but it was true with Obama, and it was true with Clinton, and it was true with Carter.
Yeah, the people are not being represented, Grover. This is the bottom line of all this, right? I mean, the big donor class, the ruling elites, they're controlling our elected officials. I mean, America is all concerned, since Peter Schweitzer wrote his book several years ago, talking about the elite capturing of our legislators, the president of the United States, family members, and all that. The fact of the matter is, the whole kit and caboodle, and I know this is a broad brush to swing here, and there's probably some Republicans say, wait a minute, I'll take exception to that, Bill. I'm not in that camp. But I'll say, by and large, the fact that you're not saying anything makes you complicit in this whole issue, that people are being bought and sold and misrepresenting the American people. So shame on you for that.
Well, and all the special interests that are getting everything they want.
Exactly.
Radical environmentalists, they know that there's no there, and they just walk in and place their demands, and it gets done. It gets done through the regulations. And in this last week, there's been some very good news for the American people. Several Supreme Court decisions have said the bureaucracy can no longer run amok the way they
Amen.
have.
Right.
If they want to fine you, there has to be a trial. Whereas the number of the government agencies, they just sit amongst themselves and they set up a fake trial and then they fine you. And which means do what we want or we fine you, do what we want or you fine you. How do you fine you? Well, we'll have a pretend trial, but guess what? I'm the judge. And so you lose. Not a real trial with real jurors. So now you got to have a real trial with real jurors. What will happen? Will they have a lot of trials? Maybe not. What they'll do is they can't blackmail people into doing what they want because they know there's no trial needed. And then there was one that says that the establishment in DC, the bureaucrats, can't make stuff up and say that the law says X. Really? Yeah, the law says X. I'm a bureaucrat. It's in my interest to have the law say X. I say it says X. The position of the Supreme Court up until last week was, you know what? Whatever the bureaucracy thinks, that they can,
because they're experts. They are experts and they know better, right? This expert class.
The whole idea of the Fabian socialists in England was that you're going to have a bureaucracy which would be making thousands of decisions. You can't make thousands of decisions to micromanage people's lives because things change.
Right.
Through elections, through a parliament or a Congress, you have to get some experts there who can change their mind every 3 weeks and tell you what to do. That the Supreme Court said, that's done. That's done. If it's not clear in the law, they can't make stuff up at the bureaucracy. All of a sudden, Congress will have to start passing laws that are clear because they love to pass unclear laws that the bureaucracy expanded.
Well, yeah, because then they're not accountable. Because when they go to their constituents and have town hall meetings, they can talk around all this stuff, right?
I never signed that. I'm not for that. That's the FEC. That's something else.
Yeah. Well, you can't get, I mean, here it is. I mean, it's disgusting, Grover, when you think about it. For 40 years, they've gotten away with this. For 40 years, they have plagued America's businessmen, America's citizens, with this kind of operation, this elite class. I think, I mean, I can only hope and pray that it's coming to an end because, like COVID, like the things that have been exposing agents and catalysts in our government, it's all coming out. There's just something we love about the truth, don't we?
Well, it is. And look, the Constitution is very clear. There is no bureaucracy in the Constitution. There's a president and people who work for him. That's the executive. There's a Supreme Court and other courts, and there's Congress. Okay. There's no fourth estate. There's no bureaucracy. That's not in the Constitution. They got no powers, constitutional powers. And that beginning to rip that away from the government, that unconstitutional power that comes out of nowhere. If every bad idea had to pass Congress, there'd be congressmen who lose elections.
Yes. Yeah, that's the bottom line. And that's what they're trying to do, is not lose elections. That's what it's all about. When it's more about winning an election than serving the American people, this is what you got. 2.5 minutes left. Let's, you and I fell in love with Trump's announcement, no tax on tip. I've been writing that on receipts, by the way. Yeah. It's awesome. And it's amazing too, because when you do that, when the server, looks at the receipt, they smile at you. You don't have to say, hey, I'm for Trump, MAGA, nothing. They know what it means. And yes, they love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is sheer genius because it's very good economics. It's a reduction in marginal tax rates. Here's what you get paid hourly plus your tips. And when they don't tax tips, the last dollar you earn is taxed less. So then you want to work more. People will take more Saturday work. People who haven't been working since COVID will come in and start working at hotels and restaurants. You see at every restaurant you go to, you see help wanted sign. Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people can get jobs now and come in and get a better rate of return on their work, including the millions of people who presently have those jobs in restaurants and barbershops and beauticians and Uber and taxi drivers and so on. All of those will see their income go up and the incentive to work go up. And then the other thing that Trump did was he exposed the Democrats who go, oh, we only want to tax the rich, but we want to tax people with tips. Why are you not taxing tip people?
You hypocrites. Oh, exactly.
What a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah.
They do just want to steal every penny they can get their hands on, and that includes from bartenders and waitresses. They do have contempt for working Americans. That's what the Democrats are doing now. It's just ridiculous, and they get caught at it. And then the unions, which say, oh, we represent these people, the unions are trying to get laws passed so they can't have tips, because it's hard to unionize an industry that works on tips, because unions want to treat everybody like they work on an assembly line and they're all exactly the same.
One size fits all. Yeah, exactly.
That's not the way tips work. No. Tips are a really good service, and that's a person doing that.
Grover Norquist, of course, the president of Americans for Tax Reform. Happy 4th of July, my friend. Take care.
Attention soldiers, this is Hawkeye News. Bravo, bravo, Sam, incoming. Report for duty now.
Welcome to another edition of Hawkeye News on bbsradio.com. On this edition of Hawkeye News, we take a listen to a portion of a Greg Reese report on the building of camps for dissident Americans who disagree with the liars running the government.
In a recent interview with Clayton Morris on Redacted, U.S. Border Patrol agent turned filmmaker J.J. Carroll discussed his new documentary and the fact that prison facilities are being built in all 50 states to hold millions of political dissidents.
And there's detention facility bids to build individual detention facilities in every state in the union. And then she goes on to say to me, JJ, who do you think they're built for? And she says in this interview, they're for dissidents, American dissidents.
The FEMA camps were reported decades ago. This was never an outrageous conspiracy theory. The U.S. government has been framing American patriots as the enemy for decades.
We've connected the world. We're like a makeover show for your brain. Warning. May cause an addiction to witty banter and ability to stop snacking and spontaneous outbreaks of interpretive dance. Consult your friends before use, as they may become equally obsessed. Use responsibly or don't. We're not your mom. Use responsibly or don't. We're your mama.
Well, hello there. Check this out. You're listening to BBS Radio TV. That's right. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Guess what? It's the best station you've ever heard of. Now, I'm not just saying that because I'm me, huh? I'm saying that because it's the truth. Other radio programs ain't got nothing on us, huh? I'm putting BBS Radio TVs on all your stations. That's right.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact.
And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. That's 800-932-1597. Paid for by the Tax Helpline.
BBS Radio TV. If it's not mainstream, it's on BBS Radio TV. A place for answers.
Attention soldiers, this is Hawkeye News. Bravo, bravo, Sam, incoming. Report for duty now.
Welcome to another edition of Hawkeye News on bbsradio.com. On this edition of Hawkeye News, we take a listen to a portion of a Greg Reese report on the building of camps for dissident Americans who disagree with the liars running the government.
In a recent interview with Clayton Morris on Redacted, U.S. Border Patrol agent turned filmmaker J.J. Carroll discussed his new documentary and the fact that prison facilities are being built in all 50 states to hold millions of political dissidents.
And there's detention facility bids to build individual detention facilities in every state in the union. And then she goes on to say to me, well, JJ, who do you think they're built for? And she says in this interview, they're for dissidents, American dissidents.
The FEMA camps were reported decades ago. This was never an outrageous conspiracy theory. The U.S. government has been framing American patriots as the enemy for decades. And the reason should be obvious. Those who have been in control of the U.S. government for generations have no interest in serving the people in accordance to the Constitution or otherwise. Our country is being destroyed from within, and the rule of law has been weaponized against those who defend it. Hundreds of innocent Americans have been arrested and thrown in jail because they chose to peacefully protest the 2020 stolen election. And others, such as Jeremy Brown, a Green Beret who was approached in late 2020 by federal agents trying to recruit him for the Jan 6 false flag operation, was arrested after going public with this information by the same federal agents. He was put in maximum security prison where he remains to this day, his 1,000th day in federal prison. Hundreds of innocent Americans have been in jail for years, and several have been tortured. Much of America is okay with the fact that hundreds are rotting in jail for a peaceful protest. It's already become the norm. The American people have never been more divided. The Daily Mail reports that more than 40% of Americans think a new civil war will be fought within the next decade. According to one poll, more than 4 in 10 U.S. voters say the country is likely to get ripped apart in a second civil war within 5 years. And another shows that over 100 million Americans say that civil war is coming. Based on the recommendation of think tank Policy Horizons, Canada has been preparing for an American civil war, including cyber attacks and grid failures following the 2024 presidential election. The soldiers of the New World Order are not going to die easy. They are apparently willing to spark a nuclear conflict with Russia and are already writing new laws to bring back the draft.
The Senate version of the National Defense Authorization Act would require women to register for selective service. It concludes, quote, "This is a necessary and fair step, making it possible to draw on the talent of a unified nation in a time of national emergency." Now, there are 2 different versions of this bill, one in the House, one in the Senate. So it's possible women in the draft could get dropped as lawmakers iron out the differences.
So while women may get dropped from this bill, our government is bringing back the draft while provoking a major war with Russia. They have their bunkers, and they've already jailed hundreds for protesting an election. So they'll definitely jail draft dodgers and everyone else who stands in their way.
You've been listening to Greg Reese. For more of Greg's commentary, go to reesereport.com. America is being destroyed within as the demonic spirits in liars, murderers, sorcerers, and child abusers run rampant. What say ye?
The answer to tyranny is to fear God and keep his commandments. They say the truth will make you free. Until you get the truth, you're not free. So here's the law to fix the problem. With doctors, politicians, lawyers, preachers, pharmaceuticals, police, media, teachers, governments, here it is. You do not lie or you will.
Thank you for listening to bbsradio.com News. I'm Sam Ray.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. That's 800-699-0358.
Getting America back on track. Bill Martinez live.
Six minutes after the top of the hour. Great to have you with us. Happy birthday, America. It is 4th of July, and we've got Grover Norquist from ATR. Grover, happy 4th of July, sir.
Absolutely. The British are having their election today, 4th of July,
Right.
Which is a little bit odd. But somebody said that we hold our elections in D.C. on Guy Fawkes Day, so now we're even.
Okay, why not? Well, and we'll see what happens. Speaking of the British, I know they're a little, I mean, some previous indications there in Europe was that everything's moving right. But for the British, it seems that, conservatives may have, overextended themselves a bit and left themselves vulnerable in this race. What do you think?
Well, what happened with the conservatives was they didn't govern as free market conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
You had Johnson, who ran around and had a girlfriend or a wife who convinced him to do green things, which are expensive.
Right.
They didn't cut taxes. Then as he moved on, Liz Truss came out and she cut taxes. And the deep state went out and submarined her and said, oh, this is going to kill the economy. A corporate tax cut is going to kill the economy. Nonsense. And then she was pushed out, and the guy who came in raised taxes, not just raised them back, but raised taxes. A conservative party, Republicans in America, that raises taxes loses its reason for being,
Right.
loses any credibility, because if our argument is we want limited government and more freedom, a tax increase is an assault on both of those. There's no getting back your loss of credibility if you're a tax increaser.
Right.
So the Tories, why would you vote for them? They're the party that raised your taxes, full stop. Well, the other team is worse, but you raise taxes.
Right. Yeah. The pain of increased taxes kind of blots everything else out, which is interesting because here in America, you got Donald Trump who cut taxes and Joe Biden wanting another 4 years saying, I'm going to raise your taxes. Boy, that sounds inviting, right?
Yes, it really is helpful that there's a stark distinction between President Trump and almost all the Republicans, the Republican leader in the House, the Ways and Means chairman, the Crapo, the leader in the Senate and Finance, Mitch McConnell, all completely opposed to any and all tax increases. Every once in a while, you can get, if you're a Republican, you can get some attention if you hint that you have some theory about why a tax increase would be a good idea. And then the press plays it as Republicans now willing to raise taxes. So Chip Roy out of Virginia, but now living in Texas, said, oh, I might want to be for tax increases. Well, nobody's agreeing with him. But the press in D.C. is saying, oh, look, many Republicans are thinking, one guy said he was thinking about it.
Right.
Won't happen. Dumbest idea in the world. One guy, and yet the press went on for days to talk about that. So one drop of poison in the cup can ruin everything, which is why it's so important that every Republican sign the pledge never to raise taxes and keep it.
You know, Grover, you have studied this so diligently over the decades, and the empirical evidence you have is so solid. And this is why the Republicans have followed your thinking and your logic. It's just the rest of the country that we've got to, get in the fold here to understand realistically, if we can get to that point and come to the table and reason together, when it comes to America's budget, it's not anything different than just, consideration of priorities. Our priorities are messed up right now. And this is why we're 35 trillion in debt and counting, right?
There are two things that limited government advocates, Republicans, normal Americans need to do. You cut taxes to have stronger economic growth, to reduce the disincentives to save and invest. That's what taxes do. They say, don't save, don't invest, or we'll steal your money.
Right.
And so keep taxes low for growth, and then take spending low in order to be able to continue to cut taxes. Spending needs to be low so that the government isn't doing too much money, isn't doing too many things, and doing too much damage. Reduced taxes for growth and reduce spending to have debt and deficit down. Some Democrats go, oh, well, we can't do the tax cut thing because we want the money, and we can't do the spend less thing because we have mouths to feed. What if we raise taxes, because that would solve the deficit? Well, raising taxes slows economic growth and feeds more spending. It makes everything worse. And that's the Democrat position. But every once in a while, some Republican, George Herbert Walker Bush in 1990, buys into that argument, and he lost the presidency because of it. He threw away, he was a great president fighting the Soviet Union, ending the Cold War with the Soviet Union retreating from Eastern Europe, kicking Iraq out of Kuwait without getting stuck occupying the place for 20 years. He did very well. One slight problem, he raised taxes, and he was gone.
Yeah, watch my lips, right?
Yes.
Well, what a fateful comment that haunted him and surrendered the Oval Office to Bill Clinton, which even the Clinton campaign did not expect to happen. They thought they were going to be able to have a better shot 4 years later because they had already baked into their minds anyway that George H.W. was, he was going to get reelected. Didn't happen.
Well, and there wasn't a lot of competition for running for election in 1992 because, as you were saying, not just Clinton thought that Bush was unbeatable. All the real Democrats, all the guys who you'd think were like their Class A team, their first team, the guys that you thought, make a list of people who might be president. Clinton wasn't on it. There was the B team that was running that year as sacrificial lambs. And yet, because he raised taxes, he destroyed his presidency, Bush did.
Exactly. Well, and every time, as you said, Grover, that we cut taxes, government gets more money. We do better. I mean, that's inarguable, right?
The economy grows, and as a result, more revenue comes in. And the way to take the deficit down, the debt down, is to have strong growth and limited spending. Those are both good ideas. Republicans find them easy, cutting taxes and spending less. Democrats can't do either of those. Their base wants higher taxes and more spending. A Democrat can't even pretend to be on our team because he has to vote for more spending and more taxes.
Because they got to buy more votes, Grover. That's what it amounts to, right? Bottom line.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
They steal your money and buy friends with them.
Yeah, exactly. And here's where we find ourselves today, not to mention the fact that, now that the constituency's eyes have been opened up in such a way, the mainstream media is now got to cover and retrace their steps and try to gain some credibility in the midst of what has been obvious to all of us, and that is that they have hidden the obvious deficiencies of one President Joe Biden. The people are none too happy about this, Grover, and rightfully so.
Well, and it's a very interesting question. How did the Democrats and the
This is Don Shank with today's global update from the Tide Ministry, sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ worldwide in the languages people were born to speak. Less than 1% of the people in the Balkan region are evangelical Christians. We at the Tide Ministry are pleased to announce a new partnership with Media 7 Balkan, the largest Christian radio network in the region, currently reaching over 7 million people with the gospel. The goal of this partnership is to establish more indigenous Christian TV channels and radio stations throughout the Balkan countries. These channels will air personal testimonials from local believers to inspire interested viewers to learn more about the transformative power of the gospel. The goal is for every person in the Balkan region to hear the gospel and every believer to become a mature Christian grounded in the Word of God. To learn more about how the Tide Ministry is using broadcast media to tell people about Jesus in their own language, visit thetide.org. That's thetide.org.
I'm Phil Hotzenpiller, the pastor of Influence Church in Anaheim Hills, California. I have a new book out with Charisma Publishing. The title, It's Midnight in America. You know the church is asleep and slumbering in the night. We're on the doorstep of the return of Christ. Every day we see more and more signs of his return. But are you ready? My new book, It's Midnight in America, will answer the most pressing questions about biblical prophecy, the last days. The book will help you connect biblical prophecies with current events. Diminish fear, find hope, and develop an unshakable faith for the days ahead. The book is available on Amazon. Get your copy today.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-745-9090. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-745-9090. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-745-9090.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-705-6581. 800-705-6581. 800-705-6581. That's 800-705-6581.
Grover, I want to have you finish your thought. This is really important for people, to kind of understand what's playing out here, because there's blood in the water, and it's amazing how in little time, shortly after this debate, when I heard Nancy Pelosi's comment of whether or not it was an episode or a condition referencing what happened on debate night, I said, "Oh, Katie, bar the doors, because they're going to be coming out in full order, right?"
Yes, and it's fascinating to watch a handful of Republicans, generally not office holders, hinting darkly that Biden should be pushed into traffic. And they're shocked and horrified to learn that he's not really all there in terms of the capacity to talk, reason.
And have the nuclear codes, oh, by the way.
An unseriousness on the part of Biden's. But you can say, well, you can't blame Biden because he doesn't have the judgment anymore to know that he doesn't have the judgment. What the real crime, sin, the thing that's so problematic is that the 400 people who work at the White House, they knew this. The hundreds of Democratic senators and congressmen, they knew this. Everybody in the establishment press.
A former president knew this. Barack Obama has been holding his hand.
Clinton knew it.
Yes.
They all lied to America for 4 years. And then when they got caught lying, they're turning on Biden and going, oh, he's a jerk. Every one of them was perfectly willing to have a bunch of staffers in the White House make presidential level decisions, all of them terribly left wing. There isn't anything that this administration did, moving to the center, always to the left. And they did so because all they cared about was moving to the left. They didn't care about having a president that, could be part of the conversation to do this. Now, any other Democrat who replaced Biden would also be sitting in the middle of that circle, and the trial lawyers and the labor union bosses and all of the special interests, the Greens and the people who want the government to regulate your life in different ways, all sit around the table and they tell that candidate what to do. It's just more obvious with Biden, but it was true with Obama, and it was true with Clinton, and it was true with Carter.
Yeah, the people are not being represented, Grover. This is the bottom line of all this, right? I mean, the big donor class, the ruling elites, they're controlling our elected officials. I mean, America is all concerned, since Peter Schweitzer wrote his book several years ago, talking about the elite capturing of our legislators, the president of the United States, family members, and all that. The fact of the matter is, the whole kit and caboodle, and I know this is a broad brush to swing here, and there's probably some Republicans say, wait a minute, I'll take exception to that, Bill. I'm not in that camp. But I'll say, by and large, the fact that you're not saying anything makes you complicit in this whole issue, that people are being bought and sold and misrepresenting the American people. So shame on you for that.
Well, and all the special interests that are getting everything they want.
Exactly.
Radical environmentalists, they know that there's no there, and they just walk in and place their demands, and it gets done. It gets done through the regulations. And in this last week, there's been some very good news for the American people. Several Supreme Court decisions have said the bureaucracy can no longer run amok the way they have.
Right.
If they want to fine you, there has to be a trial. Whereas the number of the government agencies, they just sit amongst themselves and they set up a fake trial, and then they fine you. And which means, do what we want or we fine you, do what we want or you fine you. Well, how do you fine you? Well, we'll have a pretend trial, but guess what? I'm the judge. And so you lose. Not a real trial with real jurors. So now you got to have a real trial with real jurors. What will happen? Will they have a lot of trials? Maybe not. What they'll do is they can't blackmail people into doing what they want because they know there's no trial needed. And then there was one that says that the establishment in DC, the bureaucrats, can't make stuff up and say that the law says X. Really? Yeah, the law says X. I'm a bureaucrat. It's in my interest to have the law say X. I say it says X. The position of the Supreme Court up until last week was, you know what? Whatever the bureaucracy thinks, that they can,
because they're experts. They are experts and they know better, right? This expert class.
The whole idea of the Fabian socialists in England was that you're going to have a bureaucracy which would be making thousands of decisions. you can't make thousands of decisions to micromanage people's lives because things change.
Right.
Through elections, through a parliament or a Congress, you have to get some experts there who can change their mind every 3 weeks and tell you what to do. That the Supreme Court said, that's done. That's done. If it's not clear in the law, they can't make stuff up at the bureaucracy. All of a sudden, Congress will have to start passing laws that are clear because they love to pass unclear laws that the bureaucracy expanded.
Well, yeah, because then they're not accountable. Because when they go to their constituents and have town hall meetings, they can talk around all this stuff, right?
I never signed that. I'm not for that.
Exactly.
That's the FEC. That's something else.
Yeah. Well, you can't get, I mean, here it is. I mean, it's disgusting, Grover, when you think about it. For 40 years, they've gotten away with this. For 40 years, they have plagued America's businessmen, America's citizens, with this kind of operation, this elite class. I think, I mean, I can only hope and pray that it's coming to an end because, like COVID, like the things that have been exposing agents and catalysts in our government, it's all coming out. There's just something we love about the truth, don't we?
Well, it is. And look, the Constitution is very clear. There is no bureaucracy in the Constitution. There's a president and people who work for him. That's the executive. There's a Supreme Court and other courts, and there's Congress. Okay. There's no fourth estate. There's no bureaucracy. That's not in the Constitution. They got no powers, constitutional powers. And that beginning to rip that away from the government, that unconstitutional power that comes out of nowhere. If every bad idea had to pass Congress, there'd be congressmen who lose elections.
Yes. Yeah, that's the bottom line. And that's what they're trying to do, is not lose elections. That's what it's all about. When it's more about winning an election than serving the American people, this is what you got. 2.5 minutes left. Let's, you and I fell in love with Trump's announcement, no tax on tip. I've been writing that on receipts, by the way. Yeah. It's awesome. And it's amazing too, because when you do that, when the server, looks at the receipt, they smile at you. You don't have to say, hey, I'm for Trump, MAGA, nothing. They know what it means. And yes, they love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is sheer genius because it's very good economics. It's a reduction in marginal tax rates. Here's what you get paid hourly plus your tips. And when they don't tax tips, the last dollar you earn is taxed less. So then you want to work more. People will take more Saturday work. People who haven't been working since COVID will come in and start working at hotels and restaurants. You see at every restaurant you go to, you see Help Wanted sign. Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people can get jobs now and come in and get a better rate of return on their work, including the millions of people who presently have those jobs in restaurants and barbershops and beauticians and Uber and taxi drivers and so on. All of those will see their income go up and the incentive to work go up. And then the other thing that Trump did was he exposed the Democrats who go, oh, we only want to tax the rich, but we want to tax people with tips. Why are you not taxing tip people?
You hypocrites. Oh, exactly.
What a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah.
They do just want to steal every penny they can get their hands on, and that includes from bartenders and waitresses. They do have contempt for working Americans. That's what the Democrats are doing now. It's just ridiculous, and they get caught at it. And then the unions, which say, oh, we represent these people, the unions are trying to get laws passed so they can't have tips, because it's hard to unionize an industry that works on tips, because unions want to treat everybody like they work on an assembly line and they're all exactly the same.
One size fits all. Yeah, exactly.
That's not the way tips work. No. Tips are a really good service, and that's a person doing that.
Grover Norquist, of course, the president of Americans for Tax Reform. Happy 4th of July, my friend. Take care.
This Independence Day, we honor and thank those who've served in our military. Many have made sacrifices to protect our country, including their health. Veterans are twice as likely than those who haven't served in the military to develop ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. ALS is a neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord, causing patients to lose the ability to walk, speak, and swallow on their own. Veteran Elizabeth Fassler lives with ALS and is helping to raise awareness about this incurable disease.
I was honored to serve my country, and now I serve in a different way by sharing my story of living with ALS and spreading awareness among veterans. I think it's important for people with ALS to feel connected with others, and I hope my story inspires more veterans with ALS to become part of the Share Your Story community. To hear more stories from people living with ALS and to learn more about the opportunity to share your story, visit shareyouralsstory.com/radio.
This message is sponsored by Mitsubishi Tanabe Pharma America.
If you're 65 or older and Medicare is your main source of insurance, pay close attention right now and listen for details on how you may save thousands of dollars on your healthcare costs. Did you know that Medicare can pay for things like dental visits, home delivery of drugs, even a gym membership? Call us right now and learn how to unlock all your Medicare benefits. Medicare and supplemental plans that we provide can even offer you drug coverage with zero copays and pay for transportation to your doctors. Medicare plans can offer you wonderful money-saving benefits, but you've got to call now. We'll help you get the most out of your Medicare. Make this free, no-obligation call now. Save a ton of money on your healthcare costs and get the code to unlock all your earned Medicare benefits. Paid for by Senior Choice Plans. 800-796-3954. 800-796-3954. That's 800-796-3954. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. That's 800-699-0358.
We're back with the America. Bill Martinez here. Great to have you with us, sharing a part of your day. For more info on the show, you can check it out, BillMartinezShow.com. Alfonso Rivero is back with us. It's been a while, but, this has become an annual event. And this time it is, of course, the Capitol Fourth. Alfonso, welcome back. Good to have you with us.
So good to be back. Thank you so much for having me. And, the Capitol 4th of July is coming up. We're going to have a great time. We've got a great, incredible show on PBS for the country to watch, the world to watch. Obviously, our troops overseas to watch this. We're going to honor them. We're going to honor America. We're going to have the greatest fireworks in the land. We've got an incredible musical lineup. We're honoring Rosie the Riveter and our military. It just keeps going on and on and on. It's going to be an incredible show.
Well, I'm glad you're honoring Rosie the Riveter. My mother was a Rosie the Riveter, and even my mother-in-law. Of course, like everything that had to do with World War II, Alfonso, we find out about these stories, afterwards. My dad was a medic in World War II, was at the Bulge with General Patton, and we heard very few stories, and that's typical of World War II vets. But, when these stories come out, we just cherish them and hold them in our hearts. So what you're doing and, for America, and really this is an American celebration is such an honor. And thank you and for the team for doing this in honoring those that whose shoulders we stand on, that we wouldn't be able to celebrate a 4th of July or a Capitol 4th event like what you guys are producing, but for them, right?
Absolutely, and so you and I share in that. My wife's grandmother was also an original Rosie the Riveter and was honored in Hawaii at Pearl Harbor Day with Mae Creer, who will be here this year as we celebrate her and all of the Rosies throughout history. So yeah, it's a very special thing. It's special for our family. Louise Unkrich has since passed, but this last year we miss her greatly. But we're going to honor her and all the Rosies, and it's a very special thing. And honoring all of our military and the people who you're absolutely correct. We would not be able to do any of this without them. So it's patriotic, and it's American, and it's our heroes, and it's our holiday. It's our birthday, and we get to celebrate it together.
Amen. Alfonso, this is the 44th annual edition of A Capital Fourth. And here, you've honored us by emceeing this in the last few years. What is this for you? What year is this in terms of your participation?
This is my second year. So last year was the first year I did it. And I had an absolute blast. Loved every minute of it. The team was, incredible, and they asked me to do it again this year, and I said yes right there the night of the show, that I'd love to come back and do it again. I just enjoyed every moment of it. It is an honor, and you can't say that often, right? You can say, hey, I'm happy I get to do this, and ooh, this will be fun, and this will be great, but this is an honor to be able to host our birthday celebration. A Capital Fourth has been around. It's an institution. To be able to come and be the host, to me, is just incredible. I am so fortunate. I feel so lucky that I get to do this, and it's going to be an incredible night, and we're going to have a great time.
Well, this is America's Independence Day celebration live from the West Lawn of the U.S. Capitol. Wow, what a great background, and a host of stars. Let's talk about the lineup.
Well, we're going to start the show off. I'm actually performing this year with Britt Stewart from Dancing with the Stars and a troupe of dancers. So we're going to get it off then. We've got, check out this lineup. We've got Smokey Robinson.
Yes.
Hello. We've got Fantasia. We've got Sheila E., Darren Criss, Lauren Allred, Fitz and Noel from Fitz and the Tantrums, Sister Sledge, and our National Symphony Orchestra, conducted by the incredible Jack Everly. What a great lineup! Feel so honored. We're gonna honor all of our Olympians with a special send off from Sean Johnson East. So there'll be several Olympians and Paralympians there. It's going to be an incredible evening.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Dancing with the Stars, are you going to bring the crystal ball with you so the audience can touch it?
No, we're gonna leave the crystal ball. We're gonna leave my ball. That thing, it doesn't travel well. It doesn't travel well. So yeah, we're gonna leave that. We also have Chloe Flower. I miss Chloe Flower.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the mirror ball stays at the house.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine being handed off to somebody and you hear they go, "Oops, crash." But how much fun would that be? But anyway, it's going to be.
That would not be fun if they crash my mirror ball.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the whole event and the host of stars and that we have to look forward to. And again, this is going to be carried on PBS, right?
Yes, on PBS. And I know you can go online at pbs.com or .org, looking to see where it is, to pbs.org/Capital Fourth. So you can stream it there. But watch it on PBS. That's from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. It will rerun and YouTube and available as video on demand for limited time between July 4th and July 18th. But we want people to enjoy the holiday with us and have a great time there.
Well, this has become, as you say, such a tradition that people really look forward to it. This is almost like, for many people, the capstone of 4th of July and all that it represents. It
is, and it's a wonderful time. You can watch this show while you're still hanging out, right? And you can throw this on the TV and see the great performances and see the incredible fireworks display that we're going to have at the end of the evening. But this is our birthday. This is our party. This is our time to celebrate one another, honor one another, honor the history of the country with our military, and send our Olympians off with a little bit of love before they go over to Paris for the Olympics.
Exactly. You know, Alfonso, we touched on this last time we talked, and that is maybe a good warm-up to the concert before the concert begins is get your family together or friends, you know, that you're going to be enjoying the Capitol Fourth with, and pull out the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution and read it. This will be such a blessing for you. And this will add a deeper meaning to this Capitol Fourth celebration. We did this last year, and this is becoming a tradition in our family, that you go back and you recall what the Founding Fathers' intent was, how we are demonstrating that in our country today. And not to say that by no means that we're a perfect nation, but as the document suggests, is that we're striving to be a more perfect union, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that what your family does. I think that's a great honor to the past and to what the Founding Fathers wanted. And I think that, you know, it's a wonderful thing to be able to read it and see what it actually says, right? And know what it really means, and hope that our government continues to, you know, hold our Constitution in high regards and our Declaration of Independence, and really represent that. And so that's a wonderful thing to do. That's very cool. I'm glad you mentioned that. But doing that would be a great thing for all of our listeners.
Well, it's the 44th annual edition of a Capitol Fourth, broadcast live from the West Lawn of the U.S. Capitol on PBS. And Alfonso Rivero is back to host and perform on America's National Independence Day celebration with an all-star musical and patriotic performance from pop, country, R&B, classical, Broadway artists. You've covered everything just about for our 248th birthday party, Alfonso. Good job.
Thank you so much. I mean, the producers are incredible, and I'm so lucky that I get to be a part of it once again.
Well, as we wrap things up real quick, remind them of the website they can go to.
Yes, you can go to www.pbs.org/a-Capitol-Fourth.
Alfonso Rivero, thank you so much for being with us. Keep them straight on the fairway, okay?
There you go. I love that.
You got it, buddy. Take care. All righty.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
You know, in these uncertain times of rising inflation and cost of living increases, how can we more than survive? This is why, after considering many gold sponsors, we decided to endorse and personally recommend to you the Genesis Gold Group. You're going to see for yourself that they're a partner that aligns with our biblical values of prudent stewardship. Investing in gold and silver through a gold IRA isn't just about wealth. It's about securing God's provision for our future. Genesis makes it easy to convert your 401k or IRA into a retirement account backed by physical precious metals like gold and silver. Their team has decades of experience helping folks like us preserve our hard-earned savings. That's why I would only trust Genesis Gold Group to help get you back on the gold standard. Call them today, 844-202-4252, for a free consultation. That's 844-202-4252, or go to the website goldwithbill.com.
Hi, everyone. Michael Horn for GetTheTea.com. Summer heat getting to you? Go to GetTheTea.com and take advantage of their first ever semi-annual sale on all of their herbal cleansing teas. Buy two, get 1 month absolutely free. Get the Tea is available in natural, peppermint, pomegranate, and senna, the added strength cleansing tea. Go to GetTheTea.com. Enter the code MikeT and receive free shipping too. GetTheTea.com is a family-based and owned company that has been in business over 15 years. They also carry unique supplements that you won't find in stores for your immune system, your glucose levels, and vitamins too. GetTheTea.com. It's one of the best sales of the year, so don't wait. Buy two, get one free. Go to GetTheTea, T-E-A, GetTheTea.com. Enter the code MikeT for free shipping. GetTheTea.com. Mike T is your code. Go to GetTheTea.com.
Welcome back, America. 14 minutes before the top of the hour, Bill Martinez here, and from MovieGuide.org, the one and only Dr. Ted Baer. Dr. Ted, happy 4th of July to you. How are you?
I'm doing well because finally we got together. I went to one Zoom link and sat there for a long time and said, "Where's Bill Martinez?" Then I went to another Zoom link and another Zoom link. Zoom
Well,
is-
I was looking for you, and I was just hoping that you didn't get raptured without me or something. You know?
Yeah, well, no, I have a big party going on for the 4th of July. And
Oh,
a lot of
great.
Hollywood people coming, and a guy who made $14 billion at the box office. So my daughter was just complaining, nobody's helping me. So I got to be out there helping her.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
what
So
did it.
we'll liberate you as quickly as possible here. So let's talk first of all about Despicable Me 4, another cute movie. It looks like.
Well, it's a cute movie. It's made by the head of the company is Chris Meledandri. He's a friend. He went to Dartmouth. He makes great movies. He won one of our awards, the Family Film Award last year for Super Mario Brothers. This movie grew, has now got a little son beside the 3 girls that he adopted. He's now trying to trap criminals. He goes to the school of villainy to trap a criminal who went to school with him. But they both think that the other one played a very mean practical joke. So they're both trying to kill each other. It's exciting, it's fun, and it's about forgiveness and love and being a good father. And he's a really good father. So we love Gru, and we love the fact, and Steve Carroll said in his interview with us, he is a really good father.
Well, that's good. Well, excellent. Well, we look forward. I have not had a chance to see it. I know that you have, so that's great. I always appreciate your reviews, and I know our audience does as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. Look, it's 4th of July, a lot of opportunity for people to binge and enjoy some patriotic movies. I know for me personally, I'm going to binge season 4 of Chosen. I have not had a chance to see everything, from the season. I'm only bringing that up because I may have some time on my hands, today and tomorrow to be able to catch up.
Well, if you want to see some great movies that are about Independence Day, beside the movie Independence Day, which is a science fiction movie, you've got, of course, going back to Sergeant York, one of my favorite movies of all time with Gary Cooper, where actually Gary Cooper is a terrible guy, and then he accepts Jesus, and his life turns around, and he gets recruited, and he tells the recruiter that he's a Christian, and he goes in there and of course becomes one of the great heroes of World War One. Then you've got The Patriot, which is Mel Gibson, which
Right.
you cannot lose with watching The Patriot. Everything he does is extremely well done and well paced. Then you've got James Cagney, one of the great actors of all time, who I heard he lived in New Hampshire in the latter part of his life, or Vermont, but I heard that he came to Christ when we were trying to get him to come to the Movie Guide Awards. But Yankee Doodle Dandy is absolutely terrific. And then beside that,
Oh, well, let me interrupt you for just a second. I think that's a great excuse for not coming to Movie Guide, is saying, "Hey, I can't. I don't have time for you right now. I'm coming to Christ." That might get it a pass, right?
And he's a great actor, and he did
Yeah.
some wonderful roles. And Yankee Doodle Dandy is a terrific movie. There's a flood of movies, where we've got 20 of them posted on movieguide.org, so I could go few more, but it's there are a lot of patriotic movies that are exactly about independence, about the Declaration of Independence, which I actually printed to read to you today. So I'm going to read you the whole Declaration of Independence. It'll
yes.
only take 2.5 hours.
Oh, it doesn't take that long, but I tell you, funny you should bring that up. This is one of the things that I recommend for all our audience to do, Ted, and that this 4th of July especially, sit down with the family, with your friends when you're there on the barbecue. Just take a minute and bring out the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. We did that, and had people in the circle taking turns reading paragraphs of these two founding documents. It was amazing, to watch the look on their faces as people were reading this, and you could sense, all of a sudden the light bulbs are connecting with their brains to say, wow, what an awesome birth certificate, an awesome document and mission statement for we the people. And I think that this is a perfect time to read it and to do it with friends. That's my recommendation. I know you'll be blessed to do that.
Well, we're going to read it a little bit tonight. We're going to talk about, the inklings that we have, the fellows, and the wonderful work they're going to do. And then we're talking about my son, who's in Tasmania, Australia, with a ministry on top of a mountain called Pilgrim Hill. Look it up. It is absolutely glorious. It's like L'Abri for the 21st century. It is beautiful. A lot of kids come from Asia and Europe, and they're changing lives, and in an intellectual and intelligent way.
Well, Ted, we've got about 6 minutes left here, so we have a little bit more time if you want to touch on a couple more of your favorite July 4th movies to share with us.
Yeah, let me look at the list here and see which ones I would recommend. I mean, we've got so many on here.
Right.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Of course, yes.
It's about, a man who goes in as they put him in a position of a senator who's left. He's supposed to be a patsy. He finds out what's happened. He gives one of the most stirring speeches at all time. And of course, the speech doesn't work, but eventually God works through that speech to bring the man who was setting him up. I don't think the man's name was Obama. What was it? I can't remember.
You just can't help yourself, can you?
And then there's another one, is The Manchurian Candidate, which in our 21st century confusion, it's wonderful to show you communist brainwashing of these people. And one of them is brainwashed to kill the president. It's really nice. I'm wondering if the people in Manchurian Candidate were named Jack. No, never mind.
Well, the deal is that it might be a good movie for people to watch, only from a standpoint that we hear a lot these days, anecdotally, people saying, well, he could be a Manchurian candidate. And I wonder sometimes if these young people even connect with that reference, because, politically, Peter Schweitzer has written about this, Miranda Devine, the elite capturing of our elected officials, which I think is quite provocative and insightful. So that might be a good movie, a reference movie for people to watch and get some understanding as to, what these political pundits mean when they refer to a Manchurian candidate.
Absolutely. And if you want to learn to love America, try Sullivan's Travels, about a man who's writing lightweight movies. He's very successful. He's told he's got to do something more dramatic and powerful. He travels across America and he realizes that America needs to be entertained and uplifted. It's a beautiful movie, and it teaches you about American values. Go to movieguide.org and get the whole list. We Were Soldiers, just a lot of great movies out there. 1776, Glory, a great movie. So there are a lot of great movies out there.
Well, some good options, that's for sure. Thank you so much for sharing that. Here we go, talking about patriotism. On the other hand, you have at Movie Guide a commentary of why we're seeing fewer pride displays.
Well, it's because they lost a lot of money. Target lost a lot of money, decided, actually, they said that people were not buying at Target. They said they lost a lot of money. They said they cannot do that. And there's a whole article in the Wall Street Journal about, not Movie Guide. I should be just selling you on Movie Guide, but I'm not, about the fact that the diversity agenda has caused tremendous economic pain and suffering. So if anybody thinks it's a good idea to be, look, we believe that anybody should have the opportunity to succeed. You know, my wife is Argentine, my son lives in Australia. There, people all over the world should be allowed to succeed, but you shouldn't show prejudice. And the Bible says, don't have presumptuous sins. And the presumptuous sin is saying all men are bad, all blank are good. It's not true. And you have to be able to discern on their abilities. And that's exactly what we want to see in this country, is that people succeed according to their abilities.
Well, certainly that's merit on the one hand. On the other hand, all of us were made in the image of God. And that's a different thing altogether, and certainly challenges this notion that all men are bad, right?
Right. And the image of God, of course, the Imago Dei, is that God in the beginning created. So he created us to be creative. He created you to be creative. You've been creative for years, doing your wonderful radio program now, podcast. And then, you know, he created us to be communicative. So the two characteristics that help us most resemble God is communication and creation.
Well, and to that point, it takes us into the next commentary, Dr. Ted, and that is that you can't give what you don't have. And what this study is revealing is that there is a direct connection and impact on one's daily life in relationship to their connection with God.
Right. The more people read the Bible, the happier they are. All the indices get better. Actually, there's a tremendous growth among Bible reading among people under 24. So we see a tremendous change in this country. They've never sold more Bibles. My friend who gives us the Bibles for the Movie Guide Award Gala, which we give to every studio executive, many of them, that changes their life. But young people are buying Bibles, and more Bibles are being sold than ever before. So this is good news. So anybody out there who's, under 30, get in touch with me at movieguide.org, and we have a couple of Bibles, so we'll give you one.
Wow, what a great gift. That's awesome. And these young people are picking up on the Word of God. Just as you said, the gospel, as it always has been effective. It continues to be, and it changes lives, even as we're talking right now, Dr. Ted, and we got to leave it there. And happy 4th of July, my friend. Godspeed. Take care.
Tomorrow.
Hi there, BBS Radio TV. Our shows are so captivating, you'll binge watch until your couch demands a family discount and your remote tries to friend you on Facebook. Don't skimp on the popcorn. Lather on that butter like it's going out of style.
BBS Radio TV, live worldwide radio and web TV productions. A place for answers. We do talk shows so well, they might just talk back.
BBS Radio TV, from metaphysical politics to 9D chess. Our shows are so mind-bending, they make ordinary candy look like broccoli.
BBS Radio TV, free, unmolested content from A to Z. We don't limit the content, and we won't limit your opinions. You get to decide what's right, what you like, and then live with it. How do you like them apples?
Has your heater or air conditioner busted? Appliance broken? Computer crashed? Then you need an ARW home warranty. Home system and appliance repairs and replacements can cause stress and cost you thousands of dollars per year. With an A-plus BBB rating and a top-rated home warranty company on Consumer Affairs and Trustpilot, ARW Home provides superior service, featuring the industry's lowest service call fee. ARW Home has warranty plans that cover your kitchen and laundry appliances, heating and air conditioning systems, electrical and plumbing systems, and much more. Call 800-559-7562 to customize your plan. Plus, ARW has partnered with Azurian to protect your new and used tablets, laptops, TVs, and other home tech from accidental damage and wear and tear. All plans come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-559-7562. That's 800-559-7562.
BBS Radio TV. If it's not mainstream, it's on BBS Radio TV. A place for answers.